No?
They come better than that for the title game?
No, that's, to me personally, that's probably about as good. That's the best home win I think that I can remember us having. We've had some good ones. That's about as good as it gets, because, you know, we didn't play well at all, and they played great, and they controlled the game. And about the last 8 minutes of regulation, we were fabulous, made every play. They still made plays, but we did a better job. And then overtime, Denver makes it hard 3, and it makes it hard 2, and we actually got everything we wanted in overtime. And then, you know, it's good to see Ty step up and finish it. But a great game. Kind of a reversal you know, we deserved to win in Manhattan, in Columbia, and they probably put themselves in a position to win today, but the home team made plays down the stretch.
How does the game change like that suddenly?
We were awful. 19, nothing going. Ty hadn't played, Travis hadn't played a lick, and then I really think Travis did a great job in Kenan. I haven't thought about this exactly, so I may be speaking out of turn, but we're down 19 or 17, and Elijah kind of makes 2 threes just to keep us in contact, even though it really didn't have a great feel to it, like it changed the game or anything. And Connor gets 4 looks and makes all 4. I think that was a huge deal, and Ty was great down the stretch, and Thomas was Thomas.
You talk about Thomas's block at the end of regulation.
Yeah, it was lucky. We turned out to be lucky because we switched. We put Thomas on English, and we put Connor or Travis on Ricardo, because they were going to set a high ball screen and kill this one all night long, and that way we could switch it. And he drove opposite the screen, which he's very good at that. And Thomas came from guarding the corner all the way over. You know, and Thomas isn't a shot blocker. You know, he averages 1 a game or whatever, but that was a big-time play by a big-time player.
Coach, after the game, after your CDS, you're leaving the court, and it seemed emotional with the crowd and the atmosphere after the game. Is that as good an atmosphere after the game? Did that kind of make you...
Yeah. That was pretty. That was. That couldn't have been scripted a lot better for us. You know, the thing about this game, and I haven't talked about it, but you know, playing Missouri, unfortunately, you know, it does mean something, and it means something to me. And you know, I was at Illinois, and I loved playing Missouri when I was there, and I hated nothing more than losing to Missouri. But to me, it wasn't about the last time we played it, even though that's what you guys kept focused on. To me, is about this team winning this 8th straight championship, and for this team to come as far as it has and winning that 8th straight, that was kind of like, I'm not the most emotional guy, but that was as good as it gets, and plus there were recruits in, so I was kind of hamming it up too.
Coach, can you talk about Jeff's status?
I don't know. You know, it's unfortunate. He turns his ankle right off the bat. We played 8 minutes today, I think, 7 or 8 minutes with Jeff and Thomas together, and somehow won the game. So, but Connor stepped in and played, he played 37 or 38. You know, who would ever thought that would be what we need to do to win? And I thought Kevin Young gave us some good minutes too. So, but I don't know if Jeff will be able to roll. I asked him at the end of regulation, can you win the tip? And he gave, okay, you just answered my question. So I don't think he thought he could do it.
Could you talk about the turnaround in foul shooting from the first half? Tyshawn said that you basically trusted those guys to be able to go in there and step up and knock them down when you needed to.
Well, I mean, what are you going to say? I don't trust you? So, you know, the thing about it is we're awful, but when you're awful, it seems like to me if you make your free throws, it kind of stems the tide a little bit or curtails the momentum, and we didn't. I mean, we're down 7 or 6 or 5, whatever it was, when Thomas gets his second. We don't play him the rest of the first half with 4 left, and you know, I just want to get, hey, let's just get it down to 5 at halftime or whatever, and it goes from 5 to 12, and a lot of it was just missed free throws. I just thought we played so poorly. I thought we played tight. I didn't think we played with any freedom. I thought we played not to lose. I thought we got caught up in the emotion of the game, and I think the pressure was definitely on our players, at least the way that I saw it, other than the Missouri players. The Missouri players played with house money today. That's the way they played, and we came out there trying to protect as opposed to go take, but we did a much better job late.
Was that zone something you'd seen much of on film from them and take some time to figure out how to attack it?
You know what? We're not going to look great against the zone if Withy and Robinson don't play. I mean, that's about it. We're not going to look great against anything if they don't play. But when you think about it, was it really our offense? We took some bad shots and we didn't get the ball moving at all in the first half. But, you know, you got 32 points or whatever with 4 minutes left in the half. That's not awful at home. We just didn't guard anybody. But the second half, you know, we came out, we didn't guard to start. But we did get the ball in the middle. And it is kind of a funky zone because it's a matchup. And, you know, but what we were able to do, I thought that was really good. We were able to get the ball to the paint off the bounce, and then we were able to isolate Thomas one-on-one on the block.
Bill, in stopping Missouri, can you talk a bit about how much of a difference it makes to have Phil Pressey in there? Because it looked like the time during the second half when they were struggling offensively was the time when he's on the bench with fouls.
You know, I don't know how many minutes Phil played, but Phil obviously, we played 33, so so he was probably setting some key minutes there in the second half. He's terrific. You know, the first time we played him, he makes one basket and it has like 3 assists, and he wasn't a factor at all. And today, all he gets is 8 and 12. So he was a huge factor in the game. And but those 3 guards they have, you know, I don't know whether they'll translate at the next level, but I don't know if you can. People that say they're hard to guard is exactly right, because I don't know if you can have 3 better guards out there that can all pass, catch, and shoot than Phil and Marcus and Michael. And then when Kimmy's your 4-man, that's awful hard because they can stretch you so far.
Coach, you went zone for a little bit in the second half.
No, we didn't. We had 4 players in zone and 1 player in man-to-man. It wasn't a boxing one either. You know, we jacked around and played 0 possessions of zone this year. 0. We played a little bit of triangle and 2 against K-State. And we tell the guys that we're going to go red 10 is what we call it, 2-3 zone, and we're going to stretch it and get the shooters. And that was out of a timeout. And it's a good thing we executed better late in the game out of a timeout, because we couldn't remember what we're in. Twice. Travis 1 possession, Thomas the other possession, and they ended up scoring 5 points out of us not knowing what we're doing. So.
That Tyshawn obviously ended up going exactly the way you wanted. But is that, in that situation, is that what you want him to do? Get the ball and just go?
Well, that's what we practice. I mean, the whole deal is the only one that can call timeout is the coach. In my deal. So we're going to get it out. And I even told them, hey, if anything, if they score or whatever, they're not going to, but if they do, Travis, you take it out, everybody run, and we're going to go flat, and Tyshawn will make a play. And you know, I don't know, he got fouled, and you know, for him to make the 2 free throws in the same scenario that he missed them in Columbia, I thought that was good for him.
Coach, this week, the conference commissioners were talking, and they said that the postseason basketball tournament y'all have has really devalued and almost made meaningless the regular season. Obviously, by your reaction today, I would guess you disagree, but this didn't feel very meaningless today.
No, the regular season is more important than your tournament in the BCS conferences, in my opinion.
Right.
Maybe not in a non-BCS conferences or one bid league, but the regular season is more important. You know, we you know, I thought coming into the game we should have had a 3-game lead over Missouri, or because I thought we should have won the game over there, and obviously we'd have a 3-game lead. But I don't really think that now, because we were fortunate to win today. The roles could be reversed. But this, you know, to me, we put all our emphasis on win the regular season, and then we'll move it on to the conference tournament. But there's nothing to me that anything can devalue the regular season. But I do agree the conference tournaments are important, but they're for seeding. They're not. It doesn't determine your conference champion.
You mentioned at the beginning, you said Thomas was Thomas, but I mean, even by his standards, especially in that second half, when it seemed like he scored every time he touched it. I mean, he was playing at a higher level than he even usually did, right?
Well, yeah, he was great today. That's what the best players do. They make plays and with the game on the line. But you know, without being too critical, he was a polar opposite today than what he was in College Station. I mean, that wasn't him in College Station. And you know, you stop and think about it. Here's a guy that doesn't even play last year, doesn't play as a freshman, wasn't a McDonald's guy, not a highly recruited kid by highly recruited kid standards, and he's 1 of 2 for National Player of the Year, and he's got all his family counting on him to do things, and he's got everybody in his ear, and he really doesn't have people in his family that can tell him, hey, I'm proud of you regardless of what happens. And we had a good talk on Thursday, because I was really disappointed in him on Wednesday, but I just think he was feeling pressure. But today, he played to win. I mean, he didn't, in no way did he think about anything other than winning the game.
Bill, you know you played down this last game of the series, and can you appreciate the exclamation point this puts on it, at least for a while?
Yeah, and you know, next coach may play, next president, next AD may force me to play if they're, you know, who knows, you know, I thought that, I read an article that Vahe did, in the Post-Dispatch, and I thought it said pretty much what I feel. It's not the same. You know, Missouri's they've got to market their future. We're their past. And we got to do the same thing. But for it to end like this is pretty cool, you know, for us, especially the way we lost it the first game. So it's a great rivalry. It's a two schools that fiercely don't like each other, hooking up and going at it. We saw the best they had to offer in Columbia. They saw the best that we have to offer, maybe for the next 10 years in a building, both places. And it's a shame that it's going to end, but it's definitely going to end. Playing them once a year with nothing on the line doesn't carry the same value as playing them twice a year with a championship on the line.
Bill, I know when you're in the thick of it, you're thinking about play-by-play, but when you're down 19 and you look around at the crowd, you can kind of see the look on their faces.
But I didn't really look that close.
Did you ever think, man, this is not going to end well?
Yeah, I didn't. I thought we were just getting our butts handed to us, and I knew something had to happen real fast, or it was going to end sad, and this would have been a sad ending for a lot of people around here that have supported the program over time, much longer than I've been here. But somehow, you know, one thing as a coach, you're down 19 and guys make plays. I mean, we showed some toughness today, making plays against a team that was on fire.
Bill, I think this is the first time you've been in a league long enough to win it 8 times in a row. But how hard was getting to 8 straight titles?
Well,
dwell on a little bit.
I think that you know, we haven't won it outright. We got to win this next week. But you guys saw us play early, and you know, even when we started out 1 and 2 in the league, but you could look out there and say, well, you know, Chalmers and Rush and Wright and those other cats, they're pretty good. It'll just be a matter of time before the light comes on. Hey, I didn't know if the light would come on. I didn't even know if it'd flicker. You know, after early in the season, I mean, we were not a good team. But we end up winning some games that you look back now and, you know, South Florida's a pretty good win. You know, you look back and we end up winning some games and not play great. And then after the Davidson game was good for us, and we were awful there. And, you know, somehow the guys get confidence. But one thing about our players, just because the roster changes, expectations don't. And they committed to it. And certainly they've amazed me, to be real candid.
Bill, I know you don't focus on the atmosphere of the game. Was this, from what you can tell, was this about as good an atmosphere?
Well, I didn't. Going back, I don't know if it was the first 30 minutes.
Well, the second half really.
Oh yeah. It's never been better the last 15 minutes, 10 minutes of regulation, and of course, obviously, the last 5 minutes. And it was a special day for us.
Would it be right to at least play one more time in the Big 12 tournament just to settle this year?
Well, you know, this week, you know, if they were to win the next 2 games and we were to lose the next 2 games, then it'd be a face-off to see who the best team in the league is. But you know, if we're able to take care of business this week, then that means we would have won the league. But I would love to play Missouri again for one reason. That means we've won 2 games, and they've won 2 games and be the finals of the championship. I think that would be a great way to end it in the finals. Not because I'm dying to play them, but because that means we've won 2 games. So.
You talked about the toughness the kids showed you today. Is their toughness level about where you feel like it needs to be for them to play well in March and possibly April?
Oh my God! So you sound like a fan. But yeah, I think we're getting tougher. I do. I don't know if we get key stops. You know, I still think the best teams get key stops, and I don't. You know, you watch a team like Kentucky, some teams that I've studied, and one thing about them, they get in a tight game late, the other team doesn't score, and we're not at that point by any stretch. We can improve a lot.
When you're trying to come back, did you want the ball just to go on at Thomas, or you were trying to tell Tyshawn to be more aggressive?
Both. I mean, the whole deal with our team is Thomas, you touch it, or Tyshawn, you drive it, and we did a pretty good job with that.
One more question, Bill. You just mentioned Kentucky. A lot of people, you know, tend to bring up, you know, well, Kentucky does this, but aside from maybe Kentucky, I mean, do you feel like this team that you have right here, make the argument, maybe including Kentucky, as that it's the best team in college basketball right now?
No, I can't make that argument. I think that'd be that's pie in the sky. I can make an argument that I really believe that since conference play started, other than 2 or 3 teams out there, we played as good as anybody in the country. But I can't make an argument. To me, I said this after we played Kentucky in the Garden. That's the best team, to me. And they had the more potential to get better because they were so young. And I think Syracuse is terrific. Those two are head and shoulders as far as the seeding goes, being ahead of everybody, in my opinion. But that doesn't mean somebody can't beat them. But I think that we kind of played ourselves in being in that next group of